Hey everybody, I'm Scott. This is a hot rod, and you are watching Scott Rod's Garage. So today we have Tom's 1948 GMC step-side pickup truck. Just purchased it. It's been actually sitting here for about a month because when it got here, I couldn't restart it after he shut it off because the starter was no good. I got some parts which took weeks to get, hoping to just rebuild the one he had, but that didn't work out very good, so I ended up having to locate a remanufactured starter, which took a lot of doing, but I did finally find one. So we got that in, starts fine now, and now we're going to evaluate the whole truck for him. So we're going to take a quick walk around. Right off the bat, I noticed it's got an axle seal leaking, as you can see, so we got to address that. We got a little puffing in the tailpipe, probably rock hard valve seals or maybe even worn valve guides. I have no idea, nor does the owner, of the condition internally of the engine. So we're going to look into that a little bit further for him. It seems to run fine though. Overall, I'm really digging it. It's in very good condition. The body's in great condition. The interior is fabulous. Bed's beautiful. I mean, it looks like, from what I see from up top, it was put together right. The panels line up pretty good. I mean, it's a satin black finish with shiny fenders. I like it. Interior is absolutely beautiful. Whoever did the interior, my hat's off to him. Show him the headliner. Headliner's beautiful. Let's go around the other side and take a look at the gauges. The gauges have been redone. Walk around here. Have a look at the beautiful chrome grille. You don't see a lot of these, the GMCs. You see a lot of Chevys, but you don't see a lot. Got the pin-up girl added to it. Totally digging that in true rat rod fashion. This is a little bit better than a rat rod though. This is a nice little truck. So I'm sure it's going to need a little bit of TLC, but we'll handle whatever it needs. So check out the gauges, very classy. Loving the look of the gauges. We got the spotlight, and we have the visor over the windshield. And somebody installed this neat little piece that allows you to look up over the visor. With the visor on, when you're at a stoplight, you can't really see the light. So with that, you can see the light. So it's a pretty cool little add-on. So let's hop in it, take it for a ride, shall we? So the truck runs smooth. These older vehicles, they're low RPM engines, and the standard transmissions, they're non-synchro mesh, so you almost have to come to a complete stop when you shift down into low gear. I don't like to take these on the highway too much, but so basically I'm just going to get on, get back off again, just get a little speed up, just see if there's any vibrations, shakes, any funny noises at higher speed, higher RPMs. Clutch feels good. Shifting well. Well, I mean, no major issues. I can tell you right now that the gas gauge floats, so it's probably going to send in unit issue. More wiring to the sending unit. The coolant sender, I don't know if it's in off, just disconnected, hasn't been connected yet to these gauges, but that doesn't appear to be working. Charging system does, and the oil pressure, it's reading. Of course, I'm gonna have to pull the gauge out, put my own mechanical gauge in there to confirm that the oil pressure reading is right. No race car, but it's a very, very cool driver. Come on, baby. Houston, we may have a problem. Come on, baby. We got some bucking going on. Uh-oh. So here we are. on the side of the highway. At least we were on the off ramp, but wouldn't you know it, we ran out of gas. So I guess the gas gauge is not working at all. So hey, these things happen. This is why I'm shaking it down. So I got a guy coming to get us some fresh gas. We'll put it in, get it back to the shop, and then I guess first order of business is going to be checking the sending unit and checking the water temperature gauge, making sure that's hooked up, and if it is, figuring out what's going wrong with it, because it's not reading on the gauge inside the truck. So, you know, this is the reality in reality. Things like this happen all the time. So, we'll just sit here, wait for the gas to come, and we'll get back at you as soon as we're rock and rolling again. All right. We've been saved. I just got a gas delivery. We are running again. Second gear. Woo! All right, that was fun. Bound to happen sooner or later. And what you know, right after I got done saying seems to run good, it starts popping and bucking. It took me a second or two to think about it and realize I bet you this thing doesn't have any more gas in it. Sure enough, that was the case. All right, watch this. You hear that? That's the sound. That's the sound it makes when you don't have a synchronous transmission. Carburetor seems to be working well on it, so don't see any problems there. Overall, for a truck that's a 1948, this thing drives pretty tight. Seems to run pretty good. The jury's still out on the engine though, and it takes bumps just like a 1948 would take bumps. Feeling that the directionals aren't working. Yeah, they're not working. So, directionals, gauges, pumping oil. Buy an old vehicle like this, it's always best to have it checked out. And if you can't have it checked out before you purchase it, you should definitely have it checked out right after you purchase it, which is what this gentleman's doing. So he's that's right, 1948 shocks. We're bouncing, baby. Tom has left it up to me to shake this thing down, make sure that it was worth the purchase price, which I'm not really sure what that was. I didn't get around to asking him, but I don't see anything so far that makes me think maybe you shouldn't have bought this. I'm sure when we get it up in the air and get underneath it, we're gonna probably find some more stuff. There's always something, you know. It's not very often that somebody puts something like this together and does everything right. Sometimes they start off with all the best intentions and doing the right thing, and then they just get tired of it and either pawn it off to the next guy or they finish it up quick just so it's a running, driving vehicle and they can sell it for more money. But we'll find out once we get this up in the air. But it does drive okay. Motor seems to be running fine. A little bit of noisy in there. I gotta check the oil, check the bridle's out. I did check the charging system. It's charging beautifully. And the gauge is reading as such. Either that or it's just stuck in the middle, which could be a possibility too. That we will find out tomorrow. This was a long-awaited road test, so wasn't a long one, but it didn't need to be. And we'll get back to you once we get this on the lift. Okay, so we got the truck in and we got it set up on the lift. Before we put it up in the air, I have taken the sending unit off of the side of the engine block and screwed my gauge into it. And I also have my charging system tester hooked up to the battery inside. Now I'm going to start it up. We're going to check the oil pressure and we're going to check the voltage, make sure it's charging properly. So let's get it running. Hopefully she's in neutral. Nope, she's not. Now she is. All right, let's go take a look at the oil pressure. So it was reading somewhere around 60 pounds, give or take, on the instrument cluster. And that's about what we got. So told we have 60 pounds of oil pressure. That's good. Did happen to notice that it was way low on oil too. I had to add a bunch of oil to it, but it's burning oil clearly, so that's an issue that we'll have to discuss with the owner. Runs beautiful though. Like I said before, it starts right up, almost like it's fuel injected. It starts just like that. Electric choke on it, the only way to go. Electric choke. If you've got to have a carburetor, you look at an electric choke. So it's running very, very smooth. So there's no real major issues running wise. So let's go see what the charging system is doing. Because I can't tell if any of the gauges are working right or not. So now we know the oil pressure works. Know for a fact that the fuel gauge doesn't work because I ran out of gas on the highway. And we are charging 13.3, so that's sufficient. Anything above 13 is decent. So and again, this is a very old vehicle, so, and it has a generator, not an alternator, so now it's up to 13.4, so we're pretty good there. So I'm going to shut it off and we're going to put it up in the air and we are going to shake down the front end, check the exhaust, check for leaks underneath and anything else we can find, see if there's any nastiness that we don't know about. Alright, so we got something going on here. Can't really tell if it's wheel bearing or kingpins, but we definitely got some loose stuff going on here. So you can see that. You see how much that's moving. If you look at this and this, see how that's moving? That is actually, I think it is kingpin. So we're going to check the bearings, but okay, go side to side now. We got a little bit of play, but this right here takes up some of that play there. So here's a steering box, not much to it. And that's a little moist, it's leaking. Okay, let's go to the other side to shake the other side down. I'm looking at the oil pan. It looks like somebody's had the oil pan off and hammered out a huge dent. So this thing's been bottomed out bad at one point. Okay. Again, either. All right, go side to side.
Oh, that's worse. Look at that.
Yeah. Okay. I think we definitely have loose wheel bearings for starters, and I think we got kingpins as well, which is totally expected. Any of these vehicles with the straight axle. All right, let's get it the rest of the way up and check out the rest of the underside. All right, So the brake master cylinder is new, or fairly new. Brakes feel fine anyways. Maybe a little bit of adjustment, but nothing crazy. This, for an old vehicle, and this has a closed drive shaft. This thing has the driest transmission I think I've ever seen in a vehicle this old. So that's amazing. So that's good. So it's running good. Frame is fabulous. Gas tank's a little rusty, but that's no big deal. Am I seeing things? Am I seeing things, or is this a fiberglass? Is this a fiberglass cab? This ain't a fiberglass cab, is it? I need a magnet. Hang on one second. Nope, it's metal. Boy, I don't know what's going on here, if it's just a bunch of undercoating and some dirt. But for a minute there, I thought this thing had a fiberglass cab. I don't think I've ever seen a fiberglass cab, but it just blew my mind for a minute. The running boards are definitely metal, because the one on that side's got a small dent in it that you only see when it's up in the air. Exhaust is brand new. I mean, overall, this truck is really nice. Very, very nice. So, very minor stuff. I mean, when you buy a vehicle like this, you're gonna have to do stuff to it. I don't care how redone it is, and you're never done. There's always something going wrong. So, if you want to buy an old car, be prepared to always be spending some type of money on it. It's just the way it is. Cost of doing business. Or cost of having fun, I guess. Whatever you want to call it. E-brake doesn't work properly, so we got to look at that. Everything's there. Just don't think the mechanism's working properly. I'm going to have to look into that. Not crazy about the wiring, but it's not horrible. So, and you can see the pan. Pan's got a leak. The rear main seal is leaking some. Look at the pan. You can tell this thing, at some point, had been bottomed out, and somebody pulled this pan off and hammered it back out again, which, that's fine. It's got the dual action fuel pump. Operate the vacuum wipers. Brake lines look pretty good. I mean, overall, this truck looks really good. So, not much in the way of funny stuff. You're going to get to the bottom of the fuel gauge, and the amp meter is bouncing around. So, I'm going to check the connections on that, and also the fuel gauge and the amp meter. Other than that, it does have an extra water temperature gauge that I didn't even notice when I was first driving it. It's down low under the dash, so I gotta check into that. Overall, there's that new starter that we just put in. This truck looks really good. So, a few gremlins, but not much. Really, overall, this is probably the nicest older vehicle that's been brought in here in the last couple of years, I would say. Overall, this is a pretty nice truck. So, said it before, the body's nice, the interior's excellent, super nice. Somebody did a very, very good job on the interior of this thing, and the body. And it's all steel. Fenders are steel. A lot of times the fenders, they make these aftermarket, they're fiberglass, they're cheaper. You buy them that way, which there's nothing wrong with that either. This is all steel. This truck is all steel. And it looks great. I can't even see where any patchwork, well, maybe cab corners here. Cab corners might have been done, but whoever did do them did a fabulous job on it. Whoever put this truck together did a good job. Excellent. Okay, we'll look into the things. We're going to make a list now of everything that that I just found on it, and we're going to contact the customer and give him the lowdown on it. And I think we'll do the things that absolutely need to be done for now with his okay, and then we'll make plans to get it back in the fall when he's done using it, because I'm sure he wants to get out and get to some shows with this thing, and I want to get it back to him. So we'll check back with you in just a little bit on that.